Hi everybody, welcome to this video where we will be attempting the Edexcel IAL Unit 4 2024 paper. Okay, so this is, again, I'm repeating myself over here. We are attempting the Edexcel IAL IT Unit 4 2024 paper over here. Okay, so in order to do this paper is a complete practical paper. Okay, and in order to do this paper, you need to be having the following data files with you. So over here, they have indicated that these are the data files that you are required to have. And I am having them right now on my computer with me. Okay, so over here, I have the required data files with me. So in order to attempt this paper, you too need to have these data files with you. Okay, right, let's keep moving. So over here, it's a 3-hour paper, total of 80 marks. Okay, let's get started over here. So initially, you are required to create your evidence document, a document where you will be typing in your responses, a document where you will be pasting in your screenshots. Okay, so shall we go ahead and create this evidence document? Okay, so here it says a template for your evidence is provided in your examination area. You are required to open the template, type in your center name, your center number, your candidate name, and your candidate number in the boxes provided. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to open up my candidate evidence template over here. Let's double click and open this up. And what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to enter my details. So for now, I'm just going to be putting in some random details. Okay, so for here, for center name, I'm just going to type platinum over here. For center number, I'm going to type 1234. For candidate name, I'm going to be typing my name. And for candidate number, I'm just going to be putting in 1234. Okay. And then once these details have been entered in, it's required that you save it in the format that they have asked you to save it. Okay. So center number underscore your candidate number underscore your surname underscore the first letter of your first name. So we come over here and I'm going to say file, save a copy or save as, and then I click on browse. And where am I going to save it? In my unit 4 folder, I'm going to save it as, remember what was the order? Center number, candidate number. So for now, I'm just going to say 1234 underscore 1234 underscore my surname underscore the first letter of my first name. Okay, so we put an A over there and we click on save over here. Okay, so it's still saving. It's a bit slow. Right, that's done. Okay, so we can get started now. We have saved our candidate template has been saved. Okay, so here it tells you that, you know, your screenshots, your screen prints need to be pasted over here. And there are 2 questions that would require you to type in an answer. Okay, so question 2C and question 5 must be typed in the appropriate places in your template. Okay, no big deal. We can deal with it when we come to it. Okay, right, let's get moving over here. So here there is a scenario, and every unit 4 paper is based on a scenario. It's important that you spend a few minutes and understand the scenario, because failing to understand the scenario will make it very difficult for you to complete the upcoming questions. So over here, we're talking about Julieta owns a company that sells works of art. Each work of art has a name and a minimum selling price. Okay, sounds important to me. Okay, each work of art has a name and a minimum selling price. The minimum selling price is the lowest price it can be sold for. If more than one customer is interested in a work of art, the actual selling price may be more than the minimum selling price. Are we okay with this? Minimum is the lowest selling price, but there could be instances where the actual selling price could be more than the minimum selling price. When a sale is made, the actual selling price is recorded. A customer can purchase 1 or more works of art at a time. Okay, something to do with relationships over here. When a sale is made, a customer can purchase 1 or more works of art at a time, which means one customer can purchase 1 or more arts, which also means one customer can deal with 1 or more sales. Okay, right. Julieta keeps a list of works of art in a single table within the database sales. So we do have this database with us. I will be opening it up shortly here. She has provided the art sales text file, which contains records of some of the sales. Okay, so the list of art is in a table called sales, and she has provided the art sales text file, which contains records of some of the sales. Julieta is finding it increasingly difficult to keep track of customers who have purchased works of art, sales that are for more than one work of art, whether the actual selling price is more than the minimum selling price. These are some of the difficulties that she's dealing with. So she wants a solution that will allow her to manage the system more effectively. So let's get started. Okay, I hope the scenario is clear to you over here. Somewhat of an idea you need to have. Maybe you might come back again over here to what you call when you deal with questions, you might run into some confusions. Then again, you might come back over here to sort out those confusions. Okay, we'll deal with it when we come to it. Okay, right, let's get moving. So everybody over here they are again reminding you where your screen prints need to go to. They're also reminding you that there are two questions that would require you to type in an answer. Okay, right. The sales database and the art sales text files are provided in your examination area. Study these files carefully. Okay, so I'm going to open up my database, the sales database, and let's have a look at it. So we come to our folder over here. This is our sales database. Let's double click and open this up. So it's loading. Now, guys, while y'all are dealing with your databases, y'all might run into a few issues. Let me quickly remind you all what those issues are. Number one is you might get a security warning saying that some content has been disabled. Okay, this is generally a warning from your firewall. So what you can do is you can go ahead and click on enable content. Okay, you can go ahead and click on enable content. Okay, some of you all might get a slightly different warning about macros being blocked and you cannot edit the file and things like that. If any of you all get a warning where you can't edit the file because of macros being blocked and things like that, all you have to do is close your database, right click over here, come down to properties, come to the properties of your database, and over here you would have an option called unblock. I cannot remember the exact wording. Okay, you just untick it. Okay, or you tick it, sorry, you tick it, you say unblock it. Okay, so in the general tab, there would be an option here about some security feature. You just click on unblock it. Okay, that's all you have to do. Right, so let's go into our database. When we open up our database, we have only one table over here called TBL art. Let's open up that table. And when you open up this table over here, you can see it has a total of 45 records. And in these 45 records, you can see it's talking about artwork. So you have an art ID for every artwork. Every artwork has a name. Every artwork has a minimum selling price. You can notice there's a problem over here. It's saying selling price, but the values are integers. You don't see any currency symbol over here. And then you can see status. Status says whether it's available or whether it is sold. Okay, there only seems to be two statuses, right? I don't see anything else over here. So this is our art table. This is the table that stores all the arts that are available. It basically stores all the arts that Julieta had or is having. Okay, because some of them are already sold, isn't it? Right. Let's keep moving. Let's also have a look at the art sales text file. Let's also open that up, which is over here. And when you do open this up, what do you see over here? Let me make the font a bit smaller so you guys can see everything at once. So I'm going to come over here and make this size 14, for example. And you can see over here, the first column before the comma represents the sale ID, the sale date, customer first name, actual selling price, the customer ID, the art ID, and the customer last name. Okay, you can see there's quite a mess over here. Okay, you have multiple fields inside one particular file. Okay, so you can see, for example, the sale ID is being repeated. Sale ID 1 is being repeated twice. Data redundancy is taking place over here because this particular customer, Romo Aldo or whatever, he has purchased two different arts. He has purchased art ID 21 and art ID 40, which is why they have in the same sale, he has purchased two arts. And what has happened over here is the sale ID has repeated twice, which by now you should understand is not a good thing. Okay, you cannot repeat a primary key value. A sale ID cannot be repeated twice. Okay, and then for example, if you look at this customer also, the sale ID is being repeated twice because he has purchased two different arts he has purchased. Okay, so you can see there are some problems over here. We will sort it out a little later. Okay, so I'm going to close this for now. Everybody, please make sure you close this art sales file. Okay. We're closing it up. Okay. Right. Let's move down over here. It says the art table in the database needs to be improved. There is one error in the use of the data types in this table. Okay, so there is an error in the use of data types in this table. Identify and correct the error. So if you were to come, we just spoke about it. Over here, you can see art ID. Let's go into design view. If we go into design view, we can see the data types now. So right now I'm in the home tab. In the home tab, you are in data sheet view. I'm going to just switch it into design view. So when I go into design view, I can see the field name and I can see the data type that's being used for every single field. So for art ID, number is completely all right. For art name, short text is completely all right. Now, min selling price means minimum selling price. They are using short text. We spoke about this. We told you guys that minimum selling price should be a currency value. It's a monetary value. It's a financial amount, isn't it? So we need to come over here and say minimum selling price needs to change to currency. It cannot be text, obviously. Okay. So once you have made the change, once you have identified and corrected the error, they're asking you to screen print the table in design view, making sure that the data type you have changed can be clearly seen, and then paste that screen print into an appropriate place in your template. So over here, you can clearly see the changes over here. I'm going to capture a screenshot. I'm going to be using, on your laptop, you would have a button called print screen, PRTSCR. You should have the screen, but if you don't, if you can't find it, it's not working. Okay, whatever the reason might be, you can use Windows Shift S. Okay, so Windows Shift S is your shortcut key on Windows to take a screenshot. So over here, it has gone into screenshot mode. I'm going to take a screenshot from here to here. And then I'm going to go into my evidence document. This is evidence 1A1. Click over here, Control V to paste it. So there you go. Your screenshot has now been pasted over here. So we are now done with question 1A1. Okay. So screen print is done. I have pasted the screen print. I forgot to resave my template. Let's go back and resave our template. So let's come over here and click on save or Control S. Moving on, let's move on to the second question. A record must only be saved if the minimum selling price is at least £100 and no more than £1,500. Okay, so what is the accepted range? From 100 to 1,500. No more than 1,500. Okay, so we are supposed to set up a range check so that the minimum selling price is valid. Okay, so let's go into minimum selling price, which is over here. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see better. So when I zoom in over here, let me minimize this. So I'm on the minimum selling price field. And over here, you can see these are the validation properties, or these are the properties for the minimum selling price field. So over here, you can see we have something called validation rule and validation text. So in validation rule, I'm going to be placing the rule for my range check, which is the values that we accept are greater than or equal to 100 and less than or equal to 150. Isn't it? Let me confirm once more. Let me confirm once more. What do we accept? Sorry, 1,500. 100 to 1,500. My bad. So let's get moving over here. I'm going to come over here. My validation rule is that the values that I get should be greater than or equal to 100. Okay. And it should be less than or equal to 1,500. Everybody okay with this? This is my validation rule. The value should be greater than or equal to 100 and less than or equal to 1,500. And then guys, you can also put a text over here, a message over here. If somebody were to make a mistake, if somebody was to enter a value below 100 or a value above 1,500, you can then display a message to the user. So you can say, for example, invalid, you can say invalid price. Okay. The price, invalid price. Okay. The price must be in the range of 100 to 1,500. And if you want to insert the pound symbol over here, if you were to press Windows and colon together, you get your emoji and special characters option. So you can come over here and come into currency symbol and say you want the pound symbol over there where it doesn't, or it doesn't work. Oh, it can work. Let me erase that. Control C, Control V. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. So I have put my validation rule. I have put my validation text. Let me just save it. So my computer database access is giving me a warning. You are inserting a validation rule after data has already been entered into the table. You already have values in your table and now you're putting a rule. So you might sometimes lose some of your data. Are you sure about this? Okay. So yes, I am sure about this. Examiner told me to do it. So I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to click on yes over here. Okay. So again, it's saying, what do you call data integrity rules have been changed. Your existing data may not be valid for this new rule. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure about it. Let's click on yes. Okay, so that has been done now. And the examiner, what do they require us to do? They want us to take a screenshot, okay, in design view, and then paste it into our evidence template. So Windows Shift S, we go from top to bottom. We come to 1A2 over here, Control V. There you go. I have pasted my second screenshot as well. Okay. Right. One more thing to be done over here. Let's ensure that this particular rule is working. So I'm going to go into data sheet view. And for price, I'm going to purposely enter a value less than 100. So I'm going to put 54, for example. And when I come over here, can you guys see the validation text message is appearing? Invalid price. The price must be in the range of 100 to 1,500. So it is working. I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to press escape to come out of it. Okay, awesome. Right. So let's resave our work over here. Let's resave our work on the database as well. Okay, right. Let's keep moving. Next, what do we have over here? It says Julieta needs a form to enter data about a new work of art. The form must, and she has given you a list of what do you call requirements that need to be fulfilled. Now, what I would do is normally I would first create the form. I'll first get the form created and then start fulfilling her requirements. So what I'm going to do is I have the art table open right now. I'm going to be clicking on create and I'm going to click over here on form. I'm going to get the computer to create the entire form for me. Okay, so we click on form over here and the computer creates the entire form for me. Now, one by one, I'm going to fulfill her requirements. So requirement number one, the form must open for data entry. So open for data entry means the form should open up, allowing the user to only enter a new record. Right now, guys, if I were to go into form view, there are 3 different views. If I were to go into form view, it's allowing me to see existing records. It's also, can you see? I can see all 45 records. It's allowing me to see existing records, and it's also allowing me to edit these records. Can you guys see? Okay, so Julieta's requirement is very clear. I don't want users seeing existing records, nor do I want them to be able to nor do I want them to be able to edit existing records. I only want them to be able to add a new record. That's a requirement. That's what she says. Open, ready for data entry. Are we okay with this? So what am I going to do over here? I'm going to go into my layout view. We'll go into design view. Let's go into design view. And I would be requiring the property sheet of this particular form. So how do you get that property sheet? If you come into your form design tab, you have your property sheet over here. So you take your property sheet over here. And right now, it is showing you the properties for the auto header 0, which is this particular area. I don't want that. I want the properties for this entire form. So please make sure you come and click over here and say, I want the properties for the entire form. So you click on this. And when you click on this, I'm going to zoom in now. When you click on this, guys, over here, if you come into your data tab, or you can even come into your all tab. If you come into your data tab, if you come all the way down to, can you see data entry over here? Here we have something called data entry here. So right now, data entry is no. So you're going to change it to yes. Data entry, yes. Which means this form, when opened, it should only support data entry here. So now watch the difference, okay? I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to go back into form view. So now when you go back into form view, can you see? You cannot see existing records, nor can you edit existing records. Instead, you can only add a new record. Are we okay with this? You're only able to add a new record over here. Right. So let's move on to the next one. The next requirement is generate the art ID here, which is one number higher than the number currently used. Okay, so when it comes to the art ID field, which is over here, the ID should be automatically generated. The number should be automatically generated. And what is the formula for it? It should be one higher than the last number that was used. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to go back into our property sheet over here. I'm going to be clicking on art ID. And now I have the properties for the art ID field. Everybody okay with this? So I'm going to zoom in. And over here, the default value, the value that appears automatically here. Okay, the default value, the value that appears automatically, I'm going to be putting an expression inside it. Why am I putting an expression inside it? I'm putting an expression inside it so that it would automatically generate a value that is one higher than the last used ID. I hope that makes sense to you guys. So can you all see we have these three dots over here? I'm going to be clicking on this and I'm going to be using an expression called dmax. So where is dmax? We come into functions, we come into build functions. I want all of them. If you can scroll down to something called dmax. Okay, so let me show that to you. It's over here. Can you read the purpose of dmax? What does dmax do? Determines the maximum value in a specified set of records or a domain. Let me tell you how it works. So I'm going to double click over here. Double click over here. Number one is expression. So expression means which field are you referring to? So I'm referring to which field? I'm referring to the art ID field. So be very careful, okay? Watch your spellings, capital, simples, all that matters, spaces matter. So my expression is art ID, which is, this is the field I'm referring to. Domain refers to the table. Which table are you referring to? I'm referring to the TBL art. So in double quotes, I will say TBL art. Okay. This is the table I'm referring to. And over here, this is the field I'm referring to. I want the maximum value from this field in this table. Is there any criteria? There is no criteria as such. I want this to be applied to every single record. So there is no criteria as such. So I'm going to be removing criteria. And remember, there is one more thing to be done. Once I get the maximum value, I want to increase it by 1. I want that maximum value to increase by 1. So I say plus 1. Increase the maximum value by 1. And now I click on OK over here. And let's zoom out. Let's go into form view and see if it's working. So when I come into form view, it is working. We had 45 records. And now it is automatically generating record number 46 for me. So this particular expression is working. Okay. All right. Requirement number 2 is also done. Let's move on to requirement number 3. Allow the input of information about the work of art. Okay, so the art name and minimum selling price, the user should be able to type it in. The other fields, the user should not be able to type it. So art name and minimum selling price, user should be able to, edit it. But art ID and status should not be editable. That's what they're saying over here, right? Allow the input of information for these two fields. So what I'm going to do is, again, let's go into design view or layout view. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be clicking on art ID. And art ID, I'm going to say locked. I'm going to say yes. So locked yes means the user will not be able to change the value in it. Should I show that to you? So when I come to form view, can you see over here? I'm trying to type something here. I'm typing. Okay, but it's not allowing me to change it because it is locked. Then also the status is also required to be locked because the examiner said only art name and minimum selling price, the user should be allowed to type data in it. So I'm going to go into design view, click on status in my property sheet. For locked, I'm going to say yes. So I'm talking about the status field. Can you guys see status field locked? Yes. So that is also done. My next requirement, it says, is automatically set the status to available. The status should automatically become available. So again, just like how we did art ID, where we put a default value, we are going to do the same for status as well. The default value, the value that automatically appears, is going to be available. So I'm going to come again into design view. Okay, for status, I'm going to be coming to the property sheet of it. And for default value over here, I'm going to be typing what? What did they tell me? They said it should be available. Okay, so I have typed available over here. So when I come into form view, can you see? Automatically available appears in your status. Watch your spellings, please. Okay, right. What else do we need to do? It then says you're required to provide a button. So it says over here what the button needs to do. Let me first create the button and then read what needs to be done. So I'm going to go into design view now. I'm going to be going into design view. And in design view right now, you can clearly see I do not have space to insert a button. So I'm going to be pulling this down. Can you see where my cursor is, everybody? This is where my cursor is. So I'm going to pull the form footer down. So I have more space in the detail area to draw a button. So let's click and pull this down. And over here, if you come into your form design tab, if you look at tool number 4 is for creating a button. So let's click on tool number 4 and let's very neatly draw a button from here to here. Okay. And then immediately the command button wizard opens up asking, what do you want to do with that button? So I do not want to use any of these actions. Okay. I want to program the button. So I'm going to be canceling this and I'll be programming it later. Okay. So I'm going to be canceling this. Click on cancel. Okay. I don't want to use any of those built-in functions. I will be programming it. Right. How are we going to program it? So over here, he says, provide a button that asks the user if they want to save the details of the new work of art. Okay, so save the details in the table if the user wants to save them. Display a message to say the save has been cancelled if the user does not want to save them. So basically, you need a button that will, that when clicked would ask the user, do you want to save these details? And if the user chooses yes, okay, if the user chooses yes, it should be saved. And if the user chooses no, the operation should be cancelled. Okay. So I'm going to type a simple requirement over here. I'm going to say save record. Over here, I'm going to type save record. Okay. And now I'm going to program how this button works. So I'm going to right click over here and I'm going to build an event into this button. Okay. I'm going to build how this button is going to work. So build event using macro builder. Okay, using macro builder, I'm going to build it. So right now I'm working on click. Okay, everybody, I'm working on click. When this button is clicked, what do I want to do? I want to display a message. Everybody okay with this? I want to display a message. However, in this message that is displayed, I want two options to be available. Yes or no, I want to be available. And if the user were to click on yes, it should save the record. If the user clicks on no or cancel, it should not save the record. It should say, you know what, the record has, the operation has been cancelled. So I'm going to be using an if statement and a message box. Two things going to be used over here. I'm going to use an if statement, and inside that if statement, I'm going to be having a message box. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to say I want an if statement, and inside that if statement, I want a message box. So I'm going to be typing over here if message box. Okay, can you guys read this? Can you guys read this? So it displays a message in a dialog box, waits for the user to choose an option, and returns an integer indicating which button the user clicked. Depending on the button that they click, a value will be returned. Okay. So I'm going to take message box. Okay. And now I'm going to type the message that I want to show the user. So I'm going to show the user the following message. Do you, okay, can you guys see the order? In your message box, you first print your message, your prompt, then you put your buttons, then you put a title, help file, and context we will not be using. Okay, so what is my prompt going to be? Do you want to save this record? Okay, question mark. Now I'm going to define the buttons that I want to show the user. Now, when it comes to buttons, guys, there are different values depending on the buttons that you want. Let me quickly show this to you. So if you want to, where are we? We are over here. Sorry, over here. You can see over here. If you want only OK to be visible, you will type 0. If you want OK cancel, you will type 1. If you want abort, retry, ignore, you will type 2. Okay, you can see these are the different types of buttons that you want. So what I want is, I want a yes or no. I want a yes or no. Do you want to save this record? Yes or no. So the value for a yes or no button is equal to 4. So I'm going to type 4 over there. Okay, so let me close this and type 4 over here. Do you want to save this record? Comma, I want 4. Okay. Then they're asking, do you also want a title for this message dialog box? I'll just type save record maybe. Save, sorry, what will be in double quotes? Save record. Then do you need help file and context? No, we don't need that. Okay. Now remember, I typed 4 over here now. 4 is equal to yes or no. That yes and no button is also equal to another integer, is also equal to a value. So what I'm going to do is, if message box of this with yes or no is equal to yes. How much is yes equal to? Let me also show this to you all. Yes has a value of 6 and no has a value of 7. So if it is equal to yes, it means 6. It means the user wants to save the record, isn't it? So what I'm going to do over here is, if it is equal to 6, the action that I want to perform is save record. Where is save record? I'm going to say over here, save record. The action that I want to perform is save record. Are we okay with this? And let me just read the question once more. Save the details in the table if the user wants to save them. Display a message to say that save has been cancelled if the user does not want to save them. Okay. So then I'm going to have an else, add else. Okay. If the user does anything else, they click on no or they close the icon. If they do anything else, then what do I want to do? I want to display a message box that says what? Else, display a message box saying what? What do we say? They said to say the save has been cancelled. Operation cancel. I'll just say operation was cancelled. Okay, so if they click on no, if they close it, anything else that they do, it will say operation was cancelled. Okay, so do you want to make a noise with it? Not really. Okay, what type of it? It's going to be an information, not a warning. It's just information. Title, no need a title. We can just say operation was cancelled. So let's save this. Let's close it and let's test if it's working. So I'm going to go into my form view. Okay, and I'm going to click on save record. Do you want to save the record? I'm going to say no. It says operation was cancelled. It's working quite fine. Okay, right. So what else do we need to do? Create a user-friendly data entry form for the art table that will allow Julieta to add a new record to the database. So how do you make this user-friendly? Number one, let's start by putting a meaningful title over here. So here, what shall we say? Design view. Let's put a meaningful title over here. We can say, so you have your art ID, art name, art details form. Art details form. And what we'll do is, let's make this look like a title. Come to your format tab. Center align it, bold it. Make the font maybe slightly bigger, size 24. Increase this area. Okay, art details form, maybe underline it. Okay, then art ID, I'm going to keep a space. Art name, space, and I'm going to change this to minimum selling space price status. Okay, guys, do not change the spellings of these. Okay, these are your fields. The headings you can change, but not the fields. Then let's make the headings look like headings. Select all of them, bold them, maybe put a black color font for them. Sorry, black color font, a black font for them. Make it slightly bigger, size 12. You can see we have a small problem over here. Okay, minimum selling price. Then also what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to indicate which fields are going to be automatically filled. And we also have another problem over here. You can see all the fields are the same length, but that's not necessary. Art ID is a field that has only a few characters. It can be made a lot smaller. But thing is, when I click on this field and make it smaller, as you can see over here, when I make this smaller, all the other fields are also becoming smaller. The reason being that all these fields are grouped together. So when one becomes small, all the others also become smaller. So I'm going to undo this. And what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to click over here. And guys, can you all see this symbol over here? This button over here, which selects all the fields. When I click on it, all the fields do get selected. I'm going to come to the Arrange tab. and I'm going to remove layout. I'm going to ungroup them so I can individually resize them. So say remove layout. When you do click on remove layout, now they have all become individual components. So now what you can do is you can make them each their own size. So art ID can become this size. Art name can be, for example, let's click again. Art name can be up to here. Minimum selling price can go up to here. Status can go up to here. Shall we also indicate which fields the value will be automatically generated? Shall we also take a label? Let's come into your form design tab. Let's take a label, not a text box, a label. And I'm going to draw a label from here to here. And I'm going to say over here, automatically generated value or computer generated value or system generated value. Okay. Maybe make this italics. Italic, make it a bit smaller, size 8. I'm going to copy this, paste it also for available for status. Status is always going to be available. Okay, there you go. That's also done. Save record. Let's make this look better, a better button. Okay, so let me bold it, make it slightly bigger, size 14. Yeah, that looks good. Save record. Yeah, that pretty much seems to be everything that you can do to make this form user-friendly, isn't it? Right. Maybe you can also indicate, yeah, that's it. Minimum selling price, maybe it will be a good idea if you can also mention that it is in pounds. Oh, they run out of space now. So I'm just going to open brackets, close brackets, and inside this, I'm going to press Windows colon, and I'm going to say use the pound symbol. Okay, so there you go. Now I might have to move all these fields a little bit. Let's take this all a little. Oh, everything is moving now. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to make this font size smaller because it's going to take time for me to. Okay. Right, so that looks good. Form view. Okay, I'm going to click on save. How do we save this? I'm going to save this as art details form. The name doesn't really matter, but I'm just putting it for my reference. Say, okay, my form has been saved. And now what's required from me? It says over here, screen print your form in form view. So right now I am in form view. I'm going to take a screenshot, Windows Shift S from top to bottom. And I'm going to be pasting it in my evidence document, which is over here. Okay. Then it says over here, paste the screen print, produce screen prints in design view to show any macro, code, queries, or properties you have used. So let's go from top to bottom. Okay, so let's go into this layout view. And first the art ID, I'm going to get the property sheet. And I'm going to highlight that I changed the default value. So Windows Shift S. And we take a screenshot from here to here. And we come and paste it over here. Then the next one that I changed was I made the locked equal yes. So Windows Shift S from here to here. We come and paste it over here. The next, what do we do? In terms of art name, we didn't really do anything. Minimum selling price, we didn't really do anything. But in terms of status, we set a default value. I'm going to highlight it. And Windows Shift S. And I'm going to take a screenshot from here to here. And I'm going to be pasting it over here. Right, there you go. These 3 screenshots have been done. Next, what do we need to do? We also have a button over here. So I'm going to right click over here. I'm going to say build event. And I'm going to take a screenshot of my macro. Windows Shift S from top to bottom. And I'm going to be pasting it over here. So there you go. You have pasted all your screenshots as required. Let's have one more look at the question. So paste the screen prints into appropriate places, resave your template. So I'm going to click on, I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this, going to close this. Okay. So far all my work has been saved up to this very point. Okay. Right. So moving on to question 1C over here, it talks about the art sales text file is in your examination area. This is the file that we did go through at the beginning. Okay, it contains some records from a spreadsheet that Julieta uses to keep track of sales. She wants to extend the sales database to add this functionality. So develop the sales database to do this, and you have to ensure that you have an efficient data structure, minimizing data duplication, uses correct data types, primary keys, enforces referential integrity, a lot of things to be done once you get this data into your database. So let me just quickly show you all again. We are talking about this particular file. This particular file needs to be imported into our database, and then we need to break it into smaller tables. Okay, and then we need to have those tables connected to each other. Okay, so let's get moving. Let's get started. I'm going to go into my database over here. I'm going to go into database tools, sorry, external data. In external data, I'm going to say new data source from file. And the file that I'm referring to is a text file. So we click on text file over here. I'm going to browse it now. Click on browse. And my file is over here. Art sales, click on it, click on open. Okay, and I'm going to import the source data into a new table in the current database. So I'm going to click on OK. And I will be going with delimited. I hope you're now familiar with delimited. My fields are separated using commas. Okay, so we choose delimited. We go next. Then the first row contains my field names. Make sure that this is ticked. Then we click on next. Then over here, guys, I will not be changing any of my data types because like I have told you all previously, if you change your data types over here and you import the table, sometimes you could run into errors and then you will have to do the importing process all over again. So it's good, or it's rather recommended, you change your data types after importing the data. So for example, if you come to actual selling price, you can see it's going as short text. You would think it would be best to come and make it currency here itself. I wouldn't recommend doing it right now. Do it after the importing is done. Okay, so I'll just keep all the data types as it is and click on next step. No primary key. I'll be working with that later. Next, what is the name of the table? I'll keep this as it is. This is just the table that's going to contain all my imported data. Okay. And also one more thing, I would like a wizard to analyze my table. Why would I like a wizard to analyze my table? So that I can then break this table into smaller tables and then have those tables connected to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and click on finish. And as soon as I click on finish, you can see it says your wizard analyzer is ready. Do you want to continue? So I'm going to say yes, let's proceed. So as soon as I do that, the wizard opens up. It gives me an introduction of what it can do for me. I'm going to click on next, next. And I'm not going to let the wizard decide. I'm going to decide, because when you let the wizard decide, it sometimes makes changes that are irreversible. You cannot undo those changes. So I rather prefer that I make the changes. I'm more in control then. So I'm going to say, no, I want to decide it. And we click on next. So here you can see you have your table and it has multiple fields inside it. It's time to start arranging this. Try to break this into smaller tables. Okay. So the first table I can talk about is creating a table to store the customer's details. Okay, so I can move a customer ID out. Let's drag this out. And I'm going to call this my TBL customer. My TBL customer. And I'm going to click on OK over here. And what's going to happen over here is right now the computer is automatically creating a primary key field for my customer table. I don't really need that because I already have customer ID, which is suitable enough to be my primary key field. So I'm going to click on customer ID and say, you know what, keep this as my primary key field. I don't need a separate field for it. And then what are the relevant fields over here? Customer ID, you would need your customer's first name. You would need your customer's last name. So I have my customer table over here. Then another table that I would require, if you look at table 1, is a table to record your sales. So that's going to be quite simple. You're going to have a sale ID table. You're going to have a table to record your sales. So TBL sale. I'm going to say okay over here. Once again over here, every sale will be identified by its sale ID. I don't need the computer, or I don't need my database creating a separate field to identify every sale. So I'm going to click over here and say, you know what, keep sale ID as my primary key field. Okay. In addition to sale ID, I would also have to record the date that the sale took place. Okay. And I would also need to record the customer who made this sale or who purchased this sale, isn't it? Who was the customer involved in this sale? I will also have to record. So what I'm going to do is the foreign key of customer ID, which is over here, the foreign key of customer ID, I'm going to bring it into my sale table. Okay, are we okay with this? So you can see over here, I'll rearrange this. One customer can have many sales. Okay, let's make this a little bigger. This is the customer's foreign customer ID, foreign key. Then if you look at table one, what can table one be? So table one, it has the art ID. It has my art ID. It has my sale ID, and it also has a selling price. So what we can do over here is we can call this as our sales detail, not sales, sale detail table. So we can say TBL sale detail. Because as you guys know, in a sale, you can purchase multiple arts. No, in a sale, in one sale, you can purchase multiple arts. So look at the relationship between these two tables. So in one sale, let me make it a bit smaller. Okay, so one sale can contain many art purchases. So each of those art purchases are stored inside the sales table. Okay, here we have the sale. Then the details of the sale, the arts that were purchased in that sale is going to be recorded in my sale detail table. Okay, so over here I mentioned the sale ID, the art ID, and the actual selling price. So now question would come, okay, who's going to be the primary key in this particular table? So in this particular table, I cannot have a primary key, because if I make art ID the primary key, it's going to be repeated, because the same art can be purchased by, what do you call, can be purchased multiple times now. So then art ID is going to repeat it. Primary key values cannot repeat it. I cannot make my sale ID also the primary key, because in one sale, multiple items can be purchased, right? So the sale ID is going to be repeated. Primary key values cannot be repeated. So what I'm going to do is, right now I can't do it. Once my table is imported and finished, I'm going to be making the sale ID and my art ID as composite keys, because these two keys together will never repeat. A sale ID and an art ID will never repeat together. So I'm going to make them composite keys after the importing is done. So for now, this is a structure I have. Let me make it a little better. What I can do is I can bring this to the side. I can bring this to the side. Okay, so now what you can see over here is, you can see one sale can have many sale details in it, and one customer can have many sales. So I'm going to click on next. Do you want to create any queries? No, I don't want to create any queries, and I'm going to click on finish. So there you go. My tables have now been imported into the database. Okay, I'm going to click on OK. And do you want to remember these steps? Not really. Close it. So I'm going to be closing my tables over here. So there you go. If I click over here, I can see my tables are over here. So right now I will not be dealing with the art sales table. The art sales table was just a table to contain my imported data. Okay, the tables that I will be working with are these four tables. Remember, table art was provided to us by the examiner at the beginning itself in this database. These three tables were created just now using table analyzer. So let's start working on the relationships right now. Let's go into database tools, and let's come into relationships over here. So when you come into relationships over here, you can see you have your existing relationships. You have your customer table, your sale table, your art table. Sale detail table is missing for some reason. So has it gone inside all the way there? No, it hasn't. Up, down, no. Let me click on add tables, and we'll take the sale detail table also. Okay, right. So you can see your relationship is over here. There's only one more connection to be made, which connection is that? The art table needs to be connected to its foreign key, which is over here. So one art can have many sale details. Okay, so all you have to do is do a drag from here to here. And what do you say? Enforce referential integrity and click on create. So you can see one art can have many sale details. Okay. So your relationships look pretty okay right now. Let me arrange this a little better. Okay, so we have our tables connected to each other. Before I do take my screenshot of the relationship, let me go and ensure that these two are composite keys. Okay, so I'm going to save the relationship. Okay, and I'm going to close it. And then I'm going to go into my sale detail table. I'm going to go into design view. And in design view, I'm going to make these two fields, select these two fields. Can you see? Drag both. And I'm going to say make both of them in table design, make both of them primary keys, meaning they now become composite keys. They work together to identify a record. Okay, so I'm going to click on save over here. That is also done. And shall I also now itself adjust the data types? So immediately you can see actual selling price shouldn't be short text. It should be a currency value. So I'm going to come and change this to currency. That's also done. Click on save. It's giving you a warning. You're changing your data type after data has been entered. Are you sure about it? You might lose some data. I am sure about it. I'm going to click on yes. So now you can see all your values have become currency values. Okay. Let's go into the sale table. In the sale table, when I come into design view, sale date is going as short text. That's a major problem. It should be a date or time. I'm going to click on save. Computer accepts it from me. Okay. Right. Let's go into data sheet view. That's done. Then let's go into the customer table. Let's go into design view. Here, first name short text, last name short text. Okay. Nothing to be done here. You can close this. Our table was already given to us at the beginning and we sorted that out. Okay. So now let's get started. Let's go into taking our screenshots. Okay. So let's go into our evidence document and see what is the order. So clearly shows the relationship, including table names, field names, and primary keys. Let's take this screenshot first. So let's come into our database over here. Database tools, relationships. And so you can see the relationships are visible. The table names are visible. The primary keys, composite keys, all those are visible. The field names are visible. Okay. So Windows Shift S. And I will be taking a screenshot from top to bottom. And I would be coming and pasting it over here. Then it goes on to say, screen prints showing the field names and data types in the tables you just created or you have created. So one by one, I'm going to go to every table and take a screenshot of its design view. Which tables? These three tables. These are the three tables that we created. Art was provided to us. So let's close this. Let's go into the customer table. Let's go into design view. Windows Shift S from top to bottom. And come and paste it over here. Then let's go into the next table, which is your sale table, design view from top to bottom. And we come and paste it over here. Then let's move on to sale detail. Let's close this. Close this. Sale detail table, design view from top to bottom. And we come and paste it over here. Let me zoom out so you can see what's happening over here. So I have now taken my screenshots of each table's data type and their fields. The next requirement is, it says over here, the next requirement it says is screen prints of the tables you have created showing at least 5 records and the full record count. So now you need to take a data sheet view of your tables. A data sheet view of your tables you now need to do. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go into table one by one. Let's open up customer table. So I'm going to take it from top to bottom and I'm going to make sure that this count is also included to show the total number of records in my table. So Windows Shift S, we take it from top to bottom. Let's come over here and Control V. Then let's move on to my next table, which is my sale table. This is not design view, data sheet view. from top to bottom, and I can show the total number of records. So Windows Shift S, we go from top to bottom. And what do I do over here? I come and paste it over here. Then we come to our next one, which is the sale detail table. We come into design view, not design view, data sheet view. Windows Shift S. We take it from top to bottom. Okay, and show the total record count as well. Okay, so there you go. Right. Okay, so that is also done. Next, what do we have? We have question 2A over here. Okay, so now we're done with question 1. Completely, we have come to an end with question 1. We are now going to move on to question 2. So let's move down over there. I'm going to scroll down. So we have also done question 1D, as you can see over here, even though I did not talk about it. We just did it in terms of screenshots. Okay, right. We're going to move down to question number 2. Over here, it says, Julieta wants to know details of works of art that have been sold. Okay, she wants to know details of works of art that have been sold. Okay, create a query that finds works of arts that have been sold and have a minimum selling price of at least £1,000. So she has 2 criteria here. I'm only interested in art that have been sold, status is sold, and the minimum selling price is at least £1,000. Then display in order of actual selling price, lowest to highest. So we're going to be displaying it in ascending order, small to big. And these are the fields that you're supposed to show: art name, minimum selling price, and actual selling price. So lots of information over here. Let's start with the part that we understand and we know how to do is what fields are we supposed to display. So we do know that these are the fields that we need to display now. Let's start with this area. So I'm going to go into my database. I'm going to go and click on create, and I'm going to go into query design. In query design, I'm going to now choose my table. So which field are we talking about? We're talking about art name. Art name comes inside which field? Sorry. Art name comes inside your art table, isn't it? So let's double click, open up our art table, and let's take art name. So art name field has now dropped over here. Next, what do I need? Minimum selling price. So here we have minimum selling price is also in the art table. Let's double click on that. That is also over here. The next field is actual selling price. Now, actual selling price comes in our sale detail table. So let's open up sale detail table and let's take the actual selling price. So now the 3 fields that we are supposed to display are now visible on our screen. Now let's look at the criteria. Okay. Criteria number 1 was, it should be not criteria, 1 requirement was that it should be in order of actual selling price, lowest to highest. So what I'm going to do over here is actual selling price. You can see this is a sort row. I'm going to click over here and say ascending from small to big. Okay, small to big. Right. Next, what do I need? Find works. Now let's look at the criteria that have been sold. Now, sold comes inside which field? If you do remember, in your art table, we had a field called status that says available or sold. So I would be requiring the status field over here. I will be taking the status field over here. Can you see? I just double clicked it, took it over here. But I will not be displaying it in my results because the examiner didn't tell me to display. They say display only these 3 field names. Status wasn't told to be shown. So I'm going to untick this over here. And my criteria for status is going to be what? Sold. I'm interested in the arts that have been sold. Okay. Right. That's also done. Next, what do we need? Have a minimum selling price of at least £1,000. At least 1,000 means 1,000 and above. 1,000, 1,001, 1,002, 1,000 and above. So minimum selling price, isn't it? So I'm going to zoom in here and show you. So for minimum selling price, my criteria will be greater than or equal to 1,000, because minimum 1,000, right? So let's zoom out now. And any other criteria? There isn't any other criteria. Let me click on run and see if this actually works. So I'm going to come into query design. I'm going to execute this. I'm going to run this. So we click on run, and I have got a total of 10 records over here. Okay. So what do we do? What do we do over here? I need to take a screenshot of design view. I need to take a screenshot of data sheet view. Let me first save my query. Let me click on save, and let me put a meaningful name over here. Or should I put a question number? Let me put question 2A. Q2A. Question 2A. Okay, so you can see my query is saved over here. Now I need to start taking screenshots first in design view. So let me go into design view, Windows Shift S from top to bottom. Let's go into our evidence document, which is over here. Sorry, over here, Control V. Then I do need a screenshot of my data sheet view. Okay, so let's come over here. Let's change the view. We are right now in data sheet view, Windows Shift S. Let's select from top to bottom, and let's come and paste it over here. Okay, so question 2A is also done for now. Right, let's keep moving. Let's move on to question 2B next. Okay, so we are done with this. We are then going to move down to question 2B. Okay, let's have a look at this. It says over here, Julieta would like to know more about the customers who purchased works of art in March 2024 with an actual selling price of £500 or more. Let's read that again. Customers who purchased works of art in March 2024 with an actual selling price of £500 or more. So you can see two criteria over here. One is the date, and next is the selling price. And then this information, she wants it in the form of a report. And she has shown you the report that she wants. Okay, now you do know that in order to create a report, you need to first have a query. You can then convert that query into a report. So here it says, create a query that will extract and use appropriate data from the database. And then they talk about your screenshot. So now, to get started with this, it looks confusing. Let's first understand what are the fields that we are supposed to show. So let me first go and click on create query, and then come back and see what are the fields that I'm supposed to show over here. So I'm going to click over here, create. I'm going to come into query design, and field number 1 that I'm supposed to show is the customer ID and the customer name. So customer ID and customer name both come in the customer table. So I'm going to come to tables, and I'm going to say I want the customer table. What are the fields I need? I need customer ID. I need customer ID. And then I need the name, the customer's last name. No, I need the customer's last name. So I'm going to take customer last name. So I have the customer ID and I have the customer last name. Then I also need the art name field to be there. So I'm going to go into art name. So art name would appear in the art table. I'll take the art name, double click, art name is here. I also need the actual selling price. So actual selling price comes in my sale detail table. So actual selling price, which is over here. And over here, you can also see there are two other fields, highest selling price and total sales. These are fields that involve some sort of calculation. So I'm going to keep these two fields to be generated when I create the report. So for now, I'm only creating these 4 fields. This field, highest selling price and total sales, I'll do it when I create the report. I'll use an expression to calculate the highest selling price and to calculate the total sales. Okay. So let's get moving with this. What is our requirements now? What are our criteria? Criteria number 1 is who purchased works in March 2024. So this particular criteria is going to be coming in your date field, isn't it? So where do we get the date field? Let's go into the sale table. Sale table. Here you have the sale date. I'm going to be taking the sale date field. And I'm not supposed to be showing this in my output. So I'm going to untick it. And over here, between 1st March 2024. So remember, in my database, guys, everybody, I just want to remove this and show it to you all. In my database, let's remove this. Let's zoom out. If I go into my sale table, if you look over here, if you look at the sale date field, you would notice that it is month, day, year. This is the order that my computer or my database is following. So please check what order your database is following. And when you're typing your criteria, follow that order. So for me, it's month, day, year. Okay. So what do I do over here? I would say over here, between month comes first, March is 3/1/2024. And I need to go all the way up to 31st March. Okay. But if I say 3/31/2024, it wouldn't include 31st March. So I'm going to end it at 1st April. So that 31st March would be included. So I'm going to change this to April 1st, 2024. So the 31st March would be included. So I have given my date as well. Okay. And next is selling price, actual selling price of 500 pounds or more. So my actual selling price criteria is greater than or equal to 500. Greater than or equal to 500. Okay. So greater than or equal to 500. There you go. That's also done. And is there any other criteria I have? That's it. There's no other criteria. So I'm going to come to query design and I'm going to click on run. And this is my output. I've got a total of 11 records. I've got a total of 11 records that fulfill the criteria that I just typed in. So what do I do over here? Let me first save this query. I'll save it as query 2B1. Okay, let's first save this. And I'll call it Q2BI and say okay. Now, does the question paper require me to take a screenshot of my design view? Yes, it does. So let's take a screenshot of our design view and then let's move on. So let's go into design view. Let's take a screenshot over here, Windows Shift S from top to bottom. And let's paste it over here. There you go. That screenshot has also been pasted over here. Right. The next thing that's required from us is, you can see over here, Julieta wants to print the standard report. Okay. She will use the report format shown in figure 1, this particular format. Okay. So use your query from question 2B1, which we just did, to extract data for the report and create the report. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this particular report, this particular query. I'm going to be converting it into a report. And the report will be following a format just like this. Okay, let me zoom out so you all can see the entire thing. Okay, so let's get started with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say create, and I'm going to go with form wizard. I'm going to be going with form wizard. And the first question it asks me is, what are the fields you want in your report? So I need all these fields. So I'm going to take all of them. And then I'm going to click on next step. Then it's asking me what type. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. I clicked on form mistakenly. I'm so sorry. I clicked on form. So I'm going to have to cancel this. Let's zoom out. I'm going to go with report wizard. Report wizard. Report. Which fields? I need all these fields. Next. Do you want? So if you look very carefully here, if you look at my question, can you see the data is grouped by customer? Customer ID, customer name, then the arts that were purchased by that customer is going to be displayed. So isn't that exactly what we want over here? Can you see the customer ID and customer last name? Then the arts for that particular customer are going to be displayed. So we want it to be viewed exactly by like this. This is exactly how we want to view it. You want to view it by customer. So we click on next step. Then your computer asks you, do you want to add any further grouping? No, I don't want any further grouping. I'm completely fine with this. We click on next step. Then any sorting, examiner didn't tell me to do any sorting. So we're going to click on next step. Then it asks me what type of a layout do you want? We can go with step. We can go with block. Okay. I'm going to go with block. We'll stick with block. Okay. And then I'm going to click on next again. What title do you want for your report? So the title was very clear here. It said customer sales. So over here, I'm going to type customer sales. And then I'm going to click on modify the report's design because I want to make some changes. and I'm going to click on finish over here. So as soon as you do that, you can see your report has been created. And if you come into report view, this is what you can see right now. And there's a lot of formatting for you to do right now. So let's get started. Let me first save the report. I'll just save the report over here as customer sales. Okay. Let me first save the report. Now let's go into layout view and let's start making the changes as required. So we'll start from top to bottom. Number one, you can see customer sales. It has a border. It has a bold text, italic. Let's start with that. So I'm going to click on this text box over here. I'm going to come into the format tab. I'm going to say center align this, italic it, bold it, make the font black. And I want this to be stretched from this end to this end. And I don't want a fill. So I'm going to click on this and say shape fill, no fill, transparent. Okay. So I think there is a small box behind it. Okay, right. Right, that's also done. Maybe if I can just click on this behind there is something which is a bit gray. Let me click on this and say, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, right. Right. So then we have a few other changes to make. We need to have a border for this. So I'm going to come to Format tab and I'm going to say Shape Outline. I need a line thickness of, I don't know. Okay, so now, and I need the color to be black. Shape Outline color should be black. Okay, right, that looks good. Then next, what do we need? We then need customer ID, customer art name, actual selling price. So now you're going to have to spend some time over here. Let's come into design view. In design view over here, you have your page header. So what I'm going to do is you have your customer ID header as well. So what I'm going to do is, so you can see over here, for every customer, first the customer ID, then the customer's name, then the art name, then the actual selling price. It needs to repeat for every single customer. So what I'm going to do over here is, right now they're in the page header, which means they'll appear only once. I want them to appear for every single customer. So I'm going to put these headings inside the customer header area. So I'm going to increase this area over here. Okay, increase it over here. Let's bring the customer ID over here. And let's make it big from here to here. Then I need the customer ID detail to be next to it. Let's keep that over here. Okay, then I need the customer's last name to be over here. This is the heading. I need that to be over here. Customer last name, also we bring it over here. Then I also need the art name and the actual selling price. So art name heading is over here. Let's bring that over here. And the actual selling price, I need it to be over here. So this seems to be a little too big. Okay, let's see how it looks for now. We come into layout view. So far, it looks quite fine. Customer ID, customer name, art name. Okay, it looks quite fine so far. So far, it looks quite fine. A little bit of arranging to be done, which we will do shortly. So let's go back and let's work on these fields. So the art name, it needs to be right below art name. Somewhere over here. Make it smaller. The actual selling price needs to be somewhere over here. Up to here. Okay. Right. Now let's work on the formatting, which we have next is custom ID needs to be bold. Okay, and I think it's right aligned and this is left aligned. I'll do that. Okay, so I need to format it. I need to bold it. I need to give it a black color font. Let's make it size, I don't know, 14 maybe. Okay, size 14. This also I'm going to right align it. I'm going to bold it, make it black color, make it size 14. Okay, and that's done. Okay, then this I'm going to make it left aligned, black color font. What do you call left aligned, black color font? And then what do we have next? Art name and actual selling price. You can see it is on top of a gray color fill. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to be drawing a gray color. So let me take these two down first. Let's bring these two down first. Somewhere down. And what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to come into my report design tab and I'm going to take a rectangle. Where do we get a rectangle? Over here. And I'm going to be drawing a rectangle from here to here. And this rectangle is going to have a fill of gray color. Shape fill gray. And anything else I need to do inside it? No. What I'm going to do next is art name. Do I need to center align it? No, I need to left align it. I need to bold it. I need to make it black. I need to make it size 14. Okay, make it slightly bigger. There you go. We put art name over there. Okay, and right now you can see art name label has gone behind this rectangle. I need to bring it in front. So I'm going to go into page setup, not page setup. I'm going to arrange and I'm going to say bring it front. I have right now clicked on the art name label and I'm going to say bring to front. So there you go. Art name is there. Right. Let's bring it a little more. Okay, then the actual selling price also we need the same thing. What am I going to do over here? Format, bold it, size 14, black color font, slightly bigger, and actual selling price, let's take it into 2 lines. Actual, oops. Say for arrange, bring to front. Okay, and what we can do is we can make this smaller. So let's see if we can take this to the next line. Let's make this bigger. Okay. Let's increase the size of this. Okay, I think this is a bit too dark, isn't it? Let's reduce the format, lighter gray. Okay, actual selling price is also done. We have the art name over here, which is going to be left aligned. It's going to be a black color font. Then over here, we have the actual selling price, which is going to be right aligned. It's going to be a black color font. That's also done. I feel like this gap is way too much. Okay. And higher selling price and total sales, I will deal with it shortly. Page, what do you call the date and the page number and all, we don't need it. You can see it's nowhere there at the bottom. So we could delete those two. Date, we can delete. The page numbers and all that, we can delete it. So let's go into the home tab. Let's go into report view and see how it looks. It looks pretty neat. Okay. This last name, I forgot to keep spaces. Or you just say customer. You don't say customer, just say customer, isn't it? So we come to design view and we say over here, we just say customer over here. Okay, that's also done. Okay, it looks pretty neat. Right, now what we need to do next is we need to do some calculations over here, which is the highest selling price and the total sales. So for that over here, what I would have to do is Uh, I'm going to click on actual selling price. And I want to know, first, I want to know the total number of sales, which means I need to count the number of arts. Okay. So I'm going to click over here. I want to know the total number of sales. So I'm going to click on art name and I'm going to say total, count the number of values or count the records here. Count the number of records. So that will give me the total number of arts sold now. So I'm going to say count records over here. And over here, it does that. And where has the value come? The value has come over here. Now, where do I need that to be placed? I need that to be placed on the right-hand side and say total sales. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to bring this onto my right-hand side over here. Okay. So this is giving me a count for every customer. And then it's also giving me a count at the end of the report, which means for all the customers together. Do I need that total count? Do I need the total count? I don't need it. Okay, I only need the total count per customer, by customer. So I can delete this. This I don't need. Okay, let me quickly show you what I'm talking about. Here you get the count. Here, can you see you get the count by customer? This customer has purchased one. This customer has purchased one. This customer has purchased three. And then right at the bottom, you get the total count, which is 11. This I don't need. The examiner hasn't asked for. So I can go into design view and I can say, you know what? I don't need this total count. The one in the report footer, I don't need it. Delete it. Then I also do need one more thing, which is I need to calculate the highest selling price. I need to know the maximum price for each customer. So I'm also going to do that right now. So I'm going to click on actual selling price. I'm going to come to totals and I'm going to say, give me the maximum value. So when I do that, that replaces my count for some reason. Okay. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to keep this over here. I'm going to bring this value over here. And here it's giving me the highest from all the customers. I don't need that. I need only the highest per customer. So I'm going to click on delete. And what I'm going to do is to get the count over here, I'm going to open up a new text box over here. And in this text box, I'm going to perform a calculation. What is a calculation? Let me take the property sheet over here. And I'm going to do a count. So I'm going to go into functions, built-in functions. I want to do a count. So count the number of records, count. And what is the field I'm talking about? I'm talking about art name. The field I'm talking about is art name. So I'm going to say art name. Please make sure the spellings is correct. And I say, okay. Let me see if this works. So over here, you can see it's telling me the number of arts sold. Okay. Right. That's also done. So for now, I don't need this text box. I can delete it over here. Okay. So a little bit of formatting to be done. Let's make this smaller and take this up over here. Now over here, you can see you need the value and then you need a label next to it. Okay, so let me work on it. I first need a gray color background, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to bring these two down. Okay, and I'm going to get a gray color background drawn. So rectangle, and I'm going to draw a gray background from here to here, or from here to here. And it's going to have a fill format, shape fill of gray. And over here, I need two things. I first need to say what? Highest selling price. So I need a label that says report design label. I'm going to draw a label from here to here that says highest selling price. We keep a colon and I need to make this bold black in color. Okay. Anything else I need to do here? Nothing else. Okay. And then I'm going to bring this right next to it. and I'm going to bring it in front, arrange, bring to front. So that's there. Let's see how it looks. I need to say no fill for this now. So I'm going to say format, fill, no, what do you say? Transparent. Okay, and I need to maybe left align it. No, let's left align it. Format, left align it. Okay, and yeah, let's make this a bit smaller. Then I need on the right hand side, I need the total sales. Oh, this is also supposed to be bold. Okay, let's bold this also. Then let's go back again into design view. And I'm going to copy and paste this. Control C, Control V. Over here, what do we have? Over here, we have, what do we say? Total sales. Total sales. Let's make this smaller. And I'm going to bring this over here. Bring this to front, format or page setup, not page setup, arrange, bring to front. I need to bold this as well, format, bold it, black color font, no fill. I think it should be fine now. Let's see over here. It does look completely fine over here. Yeah, it looks fine over here. We have got what needs to be done. If you want, you could do one more change over here. If you feel like this is a bit of a problem, this background color over here, you could come to format, you could come to fill and say, I want it to be white color, but that doesn't change. Let me see if I can do that in design view. No, it didn't change. Okay, let's keep it as it is anyway. Okay, I'm keeping it as it is. And I think that's it. I think I have done. Oh, I forgot to bring this left align. I need to left align these. Let's left align these values. Format, left align them. Okay, so there you go. I think you have done exactly, I think I have done exactly what the examiner has asked me for. Pretty much, yes, that's it. Okay, so then they have asked you to save it. Let's save our changes over here. Let's save our changes. We have now created the report as well. And then what we do next is, it says over here, screen print your, so we did this, screen print your report in design view. Let's go into design view and take a screenshot. View, design view, and let's take a screenshot over here. So Windows Shift S from top to bottom. And let's come and paste it over here. Then it says you need a screen print of your report in print preview. In print preview. So I'm going to change the view to print preview. And I'm going to take a screenshot from here. But how do I take it? I'm going to try and zoom out. Okay, Windows Shift S from top to bottom. And I come and paste it over here. Okay, so save your work again. With that, we have come to the end of this report question. We are then done with this question as well. Okay, so go ahead and save your template. Okay. Okay, so now moving on to question 2C. Okay, over here it says Julieta wants to invite customers who have bought more than 5 items in 2024 to a special event. Okay, so she wants to invite customers who have bought more than 5 items in 2024. Okay, so the question then goes on to say, analyze your database to determine the information needed to produce the invitations. Okay, the data that is already present and the additional data that would be needed. Recommend how the database could be extended to extract and use appropriate data for this purpose. Do not modify your database in any way. type your response in the appropriate place in your template, resave your template. Okay. So this is an answer where we will be typing. Okay. There'll be no, what do you call, running anything on the database as such. Okay. So over here, we are supposed to type our answer. So what we need to understand is that we can break this answer into three parts. So number one, we can first talk about, in order to produce this information, what information would she require? Then we can talk about what is already available and what would be needed or what would have to be added in order to produce these invitations. And then we can talk about how are we going to get this information. Okay. So let's start off with the information needed to produce the invitations. So Julieta wants to invite customers who have bought more than 5 items. So in terms of producing the invitation, first you need to know all your customers' details, isn't it? You need to know the customer details. So currently, if you were to look at your database, the customer table provides you only with the following information: the customer ID, first name and last name. But in order to produce an invitation, you need to know maybe their contact number or their email address. You need to know their, what do you call, residence address to send the invitation. None of that information is available right now. So let's get started with that. Let's first come over here and say, in order to produce the invitations for customers who purchased how many? Who purchased more than 5 items in 2024, who purchased more than 5 items in 2024, the following information would be required. Okay. So what is the information we would require? So we can say, for customer details, we would need the customer ID, customer first name, or we can just say first name, last name, address, okay, email, contact number. Okay, we would require these details. Okay. Then in order, what was the question saying? In order to find who have bought more than 5 items, what would we need? Okay, we would need for purchase details. Okay, we would need to know, what would we need to know? Sale date. For purchase details, we would need to know the sale date, the art IDs, isn't it? If I know the sale date and the art IDs, I can then figure out how many were I can then figure out how many art ID. So what I can do is, if I'm getting too confused over here, if I have the sale date, I can then put a criteria saying I'm only interested in 2024. Okay. And then I can count the number of art IDs that appear in 2024. And then I can go and see who are the customers who purchased it. Okay, so for now, in order for me to proceed with this is the information I need to know. I need to know the sale date. I need to know the art IDs. Okay, this is the information that I need to know in order to proceed with this creation of invitations. Okay, then it goes on to ask me what data is already present and the additional data that would be needed. Okay, so you can then go on to say the customer ID, first name and last name are already available. Okay. However, the customer's contact details are not available to produce the invitation. Okay. Also, the required details about purchases are available. Okay, the required details about purchases are available. Now, the third part that we need to talk about is how the database could be extended to extract and use appropriate data for this purpose. So obviously you can see over here, we would be required to produce a query. We need to run a query to find these customers. Okay, now in order for us to run this query, what are the fields that we would require? Let's talk about that. You can then go on to say, in order to find these relevant customers, a query would have to be produced. Okay, this query would contain the following fields. Okay, so in this query, what are the fields that we would be requiring? So I would definitely be requiring the customer ID. I would require the customer ID. Okay, then I can also take the customer first name and last name. Okay, so customer, how are we calling it? Customer first name, last name. It is one word, first name, customer last name. Okay, now when I'm actually running the query, what I would do is I would just say full name and concatenate customer first name and last name. Okay, but here I'll mention them separately. I would need the customer ID, the customer first name, the customer last name. I would also need to know the sale date. Okay, because I'm only interested in 2024. So sale date, how do you spell it? Let's go into the sale table. And here we have sale date. I would require the sale date. And then I would also be requiring the what do you call in the sale, sorry, my bad. In the sale detail table, I would be requiring the art ID. Okay, I would also be requiring the art ID. Okay, right. So these are the fields that I would require in order to run this query. However, there is going to be some grouping that's going to have to take place. Also, some validation rules are going to have to be applied to this. Okay, not validation rules, some criterias are going to have to be applied to this. Let me explain it to you. Okay, next, you can say over here, the customer ID field, the customer ID field, the customer ID field would be grouped. Okay, so I would group the customer IDs. Okay, I would, so that I can see for what you call for customer, let's say for example, we have customer, how does the IDs go? For customer one, I can see what are the sales that they have made. Okay, I can see over two. So if I group them, then I can see the number of sales that they have made. Okay, so what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to group the customer ID field would be grouped, comma, the art ID field. The art ID field, what I would do is I would count the number of arts. I would then count the number of arts. The art ID field would be counted in the query, and for the sale date field, I would apply the criteria of, so we are only interested in 2024, isn't it? Let's read the question again. Only in 2024. So I would then say, I would apply the criteria of between 1/1/2024 and I'm going to go all the way to 1/1/2025. Because if I mention 31st December 2024, that would not be included. 31st December would not be included. So I'm going to go all the way to 1st January 2025, so that 31st December 2024 would be included. So I would then mention this criteria. Okay, so let me just quickly go through my answer. The customer ID field would be grouped. Okay, the art ID field would be counted. Okay. And for the sale date field, I would apply the criteria of okay, so there's one more thing. I also need to know who purchased more than 5 items. No, who purchased more than 5 items. So then in the art ID field, what I would do is I would also apply a criteria where I need 5 and more, or more than 5. More than 5. Okay, so and also for the art ID field, for the count art ID field, I would not I would. We just need to say what needs to be applied. I would doesn't sound right. Anyway, no problems. Also for the count art ID field, a criteria of greater than 5 should be applied. Okay. And also for the count art ID field, the criteria of greater than 5 should be applied. Right. Now over here, we have got our query. The query has run, and now we have the customers that need to be invited. Okay. So as you know, in a query, you just get your data in a form of a table. Now, if you want to start printing this data all together so that you can put in an invitation, you will have to convert it into a report, or you would have to convert into labels so that you can print them and then paste them, isn't it? So let's also mention that. Okay. So we can say after producing of this query, this query should be converted into a report or labels so that they can be printed, and pasted on envelopes, for example, we can say on envelopes, because these are invitations, right? Okay, right. So I think that pretty much covers the answer, isn't it? After producing of this query should be converted into a report or labels so they can be printed and pasted on envelopes. Let me just quickly go through the question once more to make sure I have covered everything that needs to be mentioned over here. The information needed, the data is already present, additional data would be needed. Recommend how the database could be extended. Okay, so I think I have completed my answer over here. You also please do go through it, okay? And if you feel like I have missed out on anything, please do drop a comment over here so that, I can correct it, okay? Please do let me know. I feel like I have covered everything over here. I feel like I have covered everything over here. Okay, right. Let's move away from here then. Okay, let's move away from here. This answer is going from here and it's ending over here. Right, I'm going to move on to question 3A over here now. Let's move on to question 3A. We're done with question 2. We now move on to question 3A over here. Right, so over here it says, Julieta needs to calculate the difference between the actual selling price and the minimum selling price for works of art. She is only interested in the works of art that have a difference of more than 150 pounds. So why don't we highlight the, what do you call, the criteria here? Difference between actual selling price and the minimum selling price. She is only interested in the works of art that have a difference of more than 150 pounds. Create a query that will do this. The query should display the following fields. So let's get started. Let's go into create. Let's go into create, and I'm going to go into query design. And over here, what is the table I need? So I'm going to look at the fields that I need to display. So art name, the query should display the art name. Art name comes inside the art table. Okay, art table. So I'm going to take art name. As you can see, art name is over here. Okay. And next, what do we need? It says over here, where is it? Art name and the difference between the actual selling price and the minimum selling price. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to be creating a field right now, okay, to calculate it. Okay, so I'm going to have a field over here called, what shall I call it? I'll just call it difference in price. Okay, so I'm going to call it over here, difference underscore in underscore price colon. What are the two fields I need? So I need the actual selling price, which is in the sale detail table. In the sale detail table, we get the actual selling price. So I'm going to open square brackets over here and say actual, is my spelling correct? Selling price, is my spelling correct? It is correct. Minus open square brackets, min selling price. Min selling price. Okay, there you go. I have put the fields. I want this displayed. So actual selling price minus minimum selling price. And the name of the field is going to be called difference in price. Now let me run this and see what the output looks like. Okay. So when I click on run, this is the output that I see. Okay. This is the output that I see over here. And over here, there was a criteria. The criteria said that she's only interested in those that have a difference of more than 150 pounds. So what I'm going to do over here is my criteria. I'm going to say over here, greater than 150. Have a difference of more than 150 pounds. So now when I click on run, you can see it has gone down to only 6 records over here. There are a total of 6 pieces of art that have a difference of price greater than 150 pounds. So what do we do next then? It says over here, screen print your query in design view. So let's go into design view and Windows Shift S. We take from top to bottom. And we come to our evidence document over here, Control V. And then it says what? That's it, no? Paste a screenshot, resave your template. So I'm going to come back here and resave it, Control S. Right, we're done with that. We're then going to move on to 3B. Julieta would like to, so I think I did not save my query. Let me quickly save the query. Save it. I'm going to call this question 3A. Q3A. And I'm going to say, okay. So here you go. I have query 3A as well. Okay. Moving on, it says over here, Julieta would like the information in chart format to make it easier to understand. The chart needs to show the art name and the difference between the actual selling price and the minimum selling price. Use the query you created in question 3A to extract the data for the chart. So create a report that displays this information as a chart. So you by now understood that the obvious tool that we're going to be using is a report. Okay. So I'm going to go into create and I'm going to go into a blank report. Okay. I'm going to be going into a blank report and on the blank report, I'll be drawing my chart. So I click blank report over here. And as you can see, I have got a blank report. I've got space over here. I'm going to be changing my view into design view. So once you come into design view and you need to click on this blank area. Once you click on this blank area, and if you were to go inside the report design tab, click on this blank area and go into the report design tab, you can see there is an option here called insert modern chart. Okay, so if you click on this blank area and come into the report design tab, you should see an option here called insert modern chart. So let's click over here and I think we can go for a column chart itself. So I'm going to go for a clustered column chart. Okay, so clustered column and I'm going to draw it from top to bottom. From here to here, I'm going to be drawing a clustered column chart. Okay, so you can see over here, what you get is a sample chart. What's displayed over here is a sample chart. You now need to connect this chart to your source, to your query question 3A, right? So I'm going to come over here and in chart settings, I'm going to say my data source is a query. And what query is it? It's question 3A, Q3A. So I click on that. And over here, as you can see, it's working perfectly well. You have your fields over here. You have the amounts on your y-axis. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my axis category, which is the x-axis, is going to be my art name. I'm going to confirm it. And my y-axis is going to be the difference in price. So I'm going to tick that as well. Okay. However, you can see still there is no label over here, which you will have to do manually. Okay. One more thing I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go into the format tab and I'm going to say, you know what, data labels displayed. So it shows us the exact value of every bar. Okay, the chart becomes more readable. So display data label. Now it shows you the value of every bar. That's also done. Now you need to put meaningful titles. You need to have proper access labels. Okay, so let's come to our property sheet. Okay, so over here we have our property sheet in report design. We have our property sheet. I'm going to take it and make sure that the object that you're dealing with in your property sheet is your chart. Okay, because when you click on chart here, then it will show you the properties for the chart. Okay, so over here, I'm going to go into my data tab and let me go into all. Okay, I think all will be better. We come into all and we will be looking for chart title. So as you can see, chart title is over here. So a suitable chart title that we can give is, we can mention artworks with a difference of, so I'm going to put 150 pounds. So I need to press Windows colon and come into currency symbols and take the pound symbol. Okay, that's done. Where it didn't appear. Let's try again. Windows colon. We come into currency. Okay, there you go. The pound symbol is there of 150 pounds. Arts work with a difference of 150 pounds. That's my chart title. As you can see, it has appeared over here. Then I need to start putting my axis label. So let me zoom in again. And here you have your primary value axis title. You have your category axis title. So category axis title would be my art name. And my primary value axis title would be difference in price. And in brackets, I'm going to say that it is pounds. So Windows colon, currency symbol, and I'm going to take a pound over there. So it didn't appear. Give it a second. There you go. The pound symbol has appeared over here. Right. That's also done. So let's zoom out here. So artworks, art name, this has to appear. Okay. Difference in price has also appeared. It looks pretty good. Anything else that needs to be done? Create a report, display your report in design view, ensure the chart is visible on your screen. So before I do this, let me go and first save it. Okay. So that you know that is done. Let's save this as artworks with a difference of 150. You can put whatever name you want. I'm putting a name so I can identify it easily. And I'm going to take a screen print in design view, isn't it? They said in design view. So Windows Shift S. We take it from top to bottom. Let's go into our evidence document. Let's paste it over here. And we also need one more in print preview. So let's change this to print preview. So we are over here. Let's Windows Shift S from top to bottom. And we come and paste it over here. Control V. So that is also done. Question 3 is also done. Okay. Let me see if there is anything else. No, that's the end of question 3. Resave your template. Let's do that. Control S. And let's close whatever we don't need from here. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. Okay. Right. Let's keep moving. It then goes on to question number 4 here. They say Julieta needs a dashboard for the database. So this is something you're familiar with from 2020 to 2024. Every paper has been having this dashboard requirement. Okay. So by now, you know that the tool that you're going to be using is a form. You need to create a form in order to create a dashboard. Okay. So I'm going to immediately go and create a blank form, and then I'll start placing in whatever the examiner has asked me to place in. So I come over here, I come and say create, and I say I want a blank form. Okay. And right now my form is in layout view. I'm going to go into design view. Design view is a lot easier to work with. And let's first put the buttons, and then let's start doing the modification. So I need a button that will open the data entry form you created in question 1B. Okay, so we'll do that. So I'm going to come into form design. I'm going to take a button over here. And let's have a button like this over here. And what does this button do? I'm going to cancel it. This particular button is going to open art details form. So I have a button over here, and let's get this button in the middle, and like this. Okay, and let's put a nice font for it. Let's bold it, make it black color, maybe size 14. And yeah, open art details form. So now I'm going to program it. So I'm going to right click over here, build event using my macro builder. And what's going to happen on click? On click, it needs to open a form. Open form. Which form? It needs to open the form art details form. Has the examiner told me I have to open it up in a specific view or anything? No, he just said open up the data entry form you created in question 1B. So I have done exactly that. I'm going to click on save and I'm going to click on close. So let's see if this is actually working. Let's come into form view, click on this, and you can see the form is actually opening up. It's working perfectly well. Let's move on to the next one. It says, run the query you created in question 2A. Okay, question 2A is this particular query. So again, we go into design view. We could copy and paste this button, or we could just draw it again from here to here. Okay, so I don't need any of these options, cancel it. Now, what was 2A all about? 2A was about arts that have a arts that was sold. Sorry, what was 2A about? Greater than or equal to 1,000 and sold. So we could put a button saying display arts that were sold with a minimum selling price of £1,000. Okay, you can say over here arts sold for a min price of, so Windows colon, we come into currency symbols, we take the pound symbol of 1,000. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this size 14. I'm going to bold it. I'm going to make it black color. Okay. So now I need to connect this to the query. So I'm going to right click over here, build event using my macro builder. And I want to open a query. Open query. Which query do I want to open? I want to open 2A. So we say save and we say close. Right. The next one that we need is open the report you created in question 3B in print preview in question 3B. So 3B is your chart, isn't it? Okay, question 3B is your chart. Okay, if you remember this chart that we created over here. So it needs to open up in print preview. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to create another button, form design. And I'm going to say over here button. And I'm going to draw this from here to here. And what is this going to do? It's going to open view chart. I'll just say view chart. What was this chart about? View chart of artworks with a difference of. So I need the pound symbol of 150. So let's bold this, make it black, make it size 14. Now we have a bit of a problem. Let's make it size 12. Okay. View chart of artworks with a difference of 150 pounds. Okay. So now I need to connect this to a chart. So right click, build event, macro builder. I need to open a report, IJKLMNO open report. The report is artworks, the difference of 150. And the view is going to be print preview. It's going to be in print preview. So save, close, and let's see if this actually works. If I click on it, you can see it's perfectly working. And next, what do I need? Next, I need a button that would exit the database, that would close the database. Okay, so let's do that as well. Let's click here and draw a button from here to here. And I don't need the command button wizard. So over here, I would say exit database. I would click on this, format, size 14, bold it, black color, right click, build event, macro builder. And over here, what do I say? When this clicks, it needs to close my database. It needs to close the database. So I say save and I say close. Okay, so let me save this form as well. I'll save it as my dashboard. And could we also make this? So there's one more thing that we need to do. We need to create a dashboard to meet these requirements. Okay, so let's also put a title saying dashboard. And let's go into form design. Let's take a label. Let's draw a label from here to here. And over here we can say dashboard. Dashboard. And I'm going to make this look like a heading. So format, center align, make the font bigger, size 18. You bold it, put a black color font, maybe underline it, maybe size 24. Okay, and we say over here dashboard from this end to this end. Okay, so you have your options over here. Maybe if you want, you could just draw a border around it if you wanted. It's not compulsory. Just a border like this around it. And shape format, shape outline. You could have a black thick outline for it. That's only if you want it. It's not going to be compulsory. And so this is what you have. Okay, you could even have two columns to the buttons instead of one column. Okay, entirely up to you. Right. So with this, I come to the end of my dashboard, and over here there are a couple of screenshots I need to take. So it says screen print the dashboard in form view. So we are in form view, Windows Shift S. We take a screenshot from top to bottom, and we come to our evidence document and we paste it over here. And then you need to take screenshots of every produce screen prints in design view to show any macro or code you have used. So for every button now, you will have to go into your macro view. Okay, so right click, build event, take a screenshot of this, Windows Shift S from top to bottom. Come and paste that over here. Then you need to go to the next button, build event, Windows Shift S, top to bottom. Then you need to go down to the next one, Windows Shift S. Then you need to go down to the next one, build event, Windows Shift S. Okay, so you have taken screenshots of all your macros now, and just save your work once more. Yeah, so with that, you have then come to, yeah, I think we are done with question 4. Okay, so produce screen prints, paste screen prints, we save your template. So with that, we have come to the end of question 4 as well. Okay, we are then going to move down to to our very final question, where again, there would be some typing to be done, okay, which is question 5 over here. Let me zoom out so that we can see the question a lot better. Okay, so let's move on to question number 5. So over here, figure 2 shows the form completed by Julieta when a work of art is sold by a salesperson. The salesperson receives a fee of 5% of the actual selling price. Julieta currently completes it by hand, but it will become a form in the database. So as you can see, this is the form that she will be eventually creating. Okay, so the sales ID is there, sales date, salesperson fee, and over here there is a table giving you the details of the artwork. Here it says over here it says, analyze why your database structure may not allow Julieta to record or generate the sales data shown in figure 2. And then recommend how your database structure could be modified to allow her to record or generate the sales data shown. Type your response in the appropriate place in your template. So let's first let's analyze why the database structure may not allow Julieta to record or generate the sales data. Okay, so we'll first talk about the fields that are there, the fields that are not there, the tables that are there, that are not there. Okay, so let's have a look over here. So when we look at sale ID, we already do have a field called sale ID. So let's go into our database over here. If I go into my sales details table, if I go into my sale table, you can see every sale has a sale ID. That's not a problem. Sale date also we do have, but we do not have a salesperson as such. So if we are to create a salesperson, then we are going to have to create a separate table, right? With salesperson ID, salesperson name, isn't it? So we will need to then create a separate table to talk about that. So I'll just put a mark over there, which is over here. We don't have a salesperson. We also don't have the salesperson fee, but I think it's a standard amount of 5%, isn't it? It's a standard amount of 5%. So we need to record this 5% somewhere. Then art ID, we do have. Art category, if I'm not mistaken, we don't have. Okay, so we don't have an art category as such. So if we are going to do this, we will have to create maybe a separate table for art category names. Okay, we will have to do something like that. Then for artist name, do we have a field called artist name? We don't have a field called artist name. We may have to create a separate table for artist names as well. And then you have your actual selling price. Now, salesperson fee, we don't have. We will have to record this in the sales details table. Okay. And over here, we will have to carry out a mathematical expression. Here also, we will have to carry out a mathematical expression. Okay, what is that expression we will talk about shortly. Okay, so let's get started. Let's first talk about the fields that are available, and then let's talk about the tables and fields that would be needed to, that would have to be created in order to accommodate Julieta's requirements. So let's get started over here. You can say over here. So we type our answer over here. Let's get started. You can say the current database structure has the following fields that support Julieta's requirements shown in figure 2. This is figure 2 now, shown in figure 2. Okay, that supports Julieta's requirements shown in figure 2. So what are these fields? We can talk about sale ID, comma, sale date, comma, art ID. Art ID we have, right? Do we have an art ID? We have an art ID. Then we do need actual selling price. Actual selling price, sorry. Actual selling price. Okay. So these fields are available. Okay. However, the following fields are not available as required by Julieta, in figure 2. Okay, so what are these fields? The field is salesperson fee percentage, then art category, artist name, salesperson fee amount, isn't it? The fee amount, or we'll just say fee for now. And then total paid to artist. Okay, so now we need to talk about, so now we have done an analysis on what is available, what is not available. Okay, now we need to start giving recommendations on how your database structure could be modified to allow her to record or generate the sales data shown. So we're going to start off with salesperson. Okay, so now you can say it is recommended that the below mentioned changes be implemented to accommodate the form, or to accommodate Julieta to accommodate or to allow Julieta to record slash generate the records shown in figure 2. Okay. So first she would need to have a separate table to store the salesperson details. Okay, so you can say, firstly, we can say firstly, a table containing sales person details should be created. This table should have the sales person ID as the primary key field, and then have a sales person first name and sales person last name fields. Okay, then in the form she will have to concatenate sales person underscore first name and sales person last name into one field known as sales person. Okay, right. Okay, next, what's the next field she would need? Salesperson fee. Now, since it's a constant value of 5%, she could record it in the sales person table itself. Okay, or she could not even record because it's always 5%, isn't it? Receives a 5% of the actual selling price. So we can say over here. So we will not talk about the salesperson fee. Okay, we will not talk about that fee over here. Or shall we just mention it over here? Also, she should include a field called salesperson underscore fee in percentage to store the rate that the salesperson gets from a sale. Okay. Or shall we store this salesperson fee amount in the art table, in the sale table? We'll store it in the sale table. That will be better. Okay, so I'll remove this for now. It'll be better. It'll be more appropriate to store the commission that the salesperson is going to get in the sales table. When you make a sale, we'll mention how much of a commission you're going to get. So I'll remove it from over here. Okay, and I'll move on to the next field. Okay, so next we need to have another table for art category. Okay, because it's going to be multiple categories. Many arts will belong to many arts will belong to one category, right? So then we can talk about creating an art category table. Next, an art category table should be created. This table should have the art category field ID, art category ID as the primary key field. Okay. And have the art category name field as well. Okay. So the art table and your art category table should have a one-to-many relationship, isn't it? So what we mentioned over here is a one-to-many relationship should be implemented between the art, what do we call it, TBL art or art TBL? TBL art, between between TBL art and the art category table. I forgot to mention the relationship between this, okay? A relationship of one to many should be implemented between salesperson table and TBL sales. TBL sale or sales, what are we calling it? TBL sale. TBL sale. Okay, so right, we're going to move away from here as well, TBL sale. The next field that we see over here is the artist name. So we would require a separate table to store the artist name details. Okay, so next, an artist table should be created. This table should have the following fields. Okay, what are the fields going to be? Artist ID, comma, artist F name, first name, comma, artist L name. Okay. The artist ID should be made the primary key of this table. And what type of a relationship do we need between? So a relationship of one to many would be between the artist and the art table, isn't it? One to many relationship should be implemented between the artist and TBL art. Okay, right. We have also mentioned that. Next, what do we need? The salesperson field and the total paid to artist should also be recorded. Okay, so now the salesperson fee can be stored in the sales details table, isn't it? In the sales details table. Okay, and we could even, yeah, we can store it in the sales details table. Okay, so then you can say in the sales details table, in the sales, how do we call it over? TBL sale detail. In the TBL sale detail, the following two fields should be created. What are the two? Salesperson fee and total paid to artist. Salesperson fee and total paid to artist. Okay. And over here, we need to mention the mathematical expression that would be applied to it, that would be given to it. So what is the expression going to be? For the sales person fee field, the following expression should be applied to it. Okay. What is the expression going to be? The salesperson fee would be 5% of the actual selling price, isn't it? Okay, so we will have to say 0.05, which is 5%, 0.05 into actual selling price. Okay. For the which field? For the total paid to artist field, for the total paid to artist field, the following expression should be applied, which is So you have the actual selling price. Okay. Actual selling price minus the salesperson fee, minus salesperson fee. Okay, this would then tell you how much the artist is going to receive. Okay, right. We have then done that as well. I don't think we need to mention anything else, isn't it? So we have recommended how the database structure could be modified, and we have shown that as well. To me, I think I have mentioned everything that needs to be mentioned over here. I first did an analysis of what's available, what's not available, and then I went on to mention how to make this form possible. Okay, so yeah, with that, we have then come to the end of this paper. I really do hope I have not missed out on anything. I hope I have done everything that needs to be done. Okay. And I hope you have benefited from the video. I hope you have found it extremely useful. Okay. With that, we come to the end. All the very best. I hope you guys have benefited from this. And all the very best with your exams. Okay. Take care. See you soon.